What's up, everybody? Back with some NBA plays for this Friday. Obviously, shit hasn't been going well lately. Down like 4 units this week. It's a little frustrating, but just got to keep grinding and believing that the work will pay off and numbers and trends and all that stuff will matter in the long run. So, tailor fade, but I hope, big part of what I hope with doing this is that I can give you some good information. So, even if you want to go a different direction, you got some good information to go with it. So, two things that I've bet already, and then I'm going to give you some quick hits on leans that I've got that I haven't bet yet. So, first game is Portland and Houston. I am taking Houston plus 6.5 for a unit in this game. Here's why. Big thing is the home and away split. So, Portland is scoring 12.2 points less on the road than at home, 116.2 to 104. They're allowing 14 more on the road than at home, 116.2 compared to 102.2. So dramatically different team at home and on the road. That's the reason why they're 0-6 against the spread on the road. They're one of two teams that's over on the road against the spread, which is actually going to come up for the second pick. Houston's allowing 5.1 less at home. They're allowing 108 compared to 113.1 when they're on the road, so a little bit better. Houston's not great against the spread. They're 5-5-1, but hey, it's decent, and Portland's over. So going to ride that trend as long as the numbers support it. Houston's 4-1 straight up in the first half in their last five, so they've played pretty well to start games off. And Houston's a young team, and I think they've got to be a little discouraged at this point, losing a lot of games in a row. But I think if they can keep it close and even be up with how badly things have been going for Portland on the road, I think this is a spot where Houston could kind of hang on to that first half lead or first half keeping it close. The reason I'm not taking the first half is because Portland's been a little inconsistent with how they lose these games on the road. They've had some bad first halves, but they've also had some really bad second halves. And so I don't want to limit it to just one thing. I did think about taking the money line here just because of the trends and the numbers. I actually have this game lined at Houston -2, and the money line is plus 210, so there is some value there. But Houston's lost 9 in a row straight up, so it feels really hard to bet on them to actually win. What I'm betting on is that they can keep it close. So yeah, I had this at Houston -2 and a 218 total, so I'm going to take Houston at plus 6.5 to keep it close and hopefully get a unit there. Second game that I've already bet on is Atlanta at Denver. Actually, I've made two bets on this game. I bet Denver -4 at -110, and I bet under 215 at -110. This one, again, I mean, these two teams, Atlanta and Portland, Atlanta especially is not good. But they're dramatically different teams at home on the road. Atlanta scores 8 less points on the road, 112.75 to 104.75. And they allow 10.4 more points on the road, 114.9 compared to 104.5. So they're just not a good road team. Denver does score 2.5 less at home. They score 100.7. This is actually part of what plays into me taking the under. Denver is not an offensive powerhouse by any means, but they're allowing 12 less points at home. They only allow 93 points a game at home, 105 on the road. So even 105 isn't much, but they're just straight up stingy at home. You're also getting Jokic back in this game. He's had a little time off thanks to his suspension. So he should be able to come back fresh, which he obviously drives the offense, drives everything Denver really does. Atlanta is 0-8 against the spread on the road. They're 2-5 against the spread after a loss, which they just had. And so like I said with Portland, I'm going to keep riding that trend as long as the other numbers support it. And in this case, I feel like they really do. Denver just shuts down offenses for the most part, and Atlanta honestly hasn't had that much on offense in most games. Trae Young seems to be really struggling. I don't know if it's the new rules or if he'll just get on track. Who knows? But it hasn't been great. These are two slow-paced teams, like 97.5, 98.5, and I think it's just going to be like a back-and-forth kind of slow slog. So I lined this game as Denver -10 and a 202 total. And so at Denver -4, I see some value there. It's a little hard to trust Denver on a spread, but I like it. And then 202, this is probably one of my best bets so far. That gives me a 13-point difference between that under 215 that I got and the 202. So those are the two bets, both for one unit, that I have in Atlanta, Denver. Just wanted to hit you with a few other things I'm looking at. I haven't bet these yet, and there's definitely still some injury news out there that's going to affect things. But I like looking at Charlotte for a live bet at halftime. They do tend to get down and come back. Obviously not every game, but that's a trend. And the Knicks often get out quick and then they kind of tail off has been more of their thing. And the Knicks actually just haven't been playing awesome lately. So, and Charlotte's had some good spurts. So I would like to look at a Charlotte live bet at halftime if they're down, but the game is in reach. Like Milwaukee -1.5. Boston just doesn't have much of anything on offense. I heard today that Jason Tatum may be dealing with some kind of nagging injury that isn't keeping him off the court, but is keeping him from being effective in any way. And Boston actually gives up more points at home than they do on the road. So Milwaukee -1.5. I like that. Also looking to live bet Cleveland at the half if it's close. They're 4-1 in the third quarter in their last 5. Detroit's 1-4 in the third quarter. And so might even try to take that bet just for the third quarter, not the whole second half. But if it's close, especially if Cleveland's actually down a few points, I like that bet. At halftime, Brooklyn, New Orleans, over to 11.5, waiting to see what happens with Ingram. Obviously, it would be nice to have his offense. I mean, whatever. The Pelicans suck. But even sucky teams have to keep it close once in a while. And I just think Brooklyn might be totally disinterested here. And so I think that could allow the Pelicans to keep it close enough that they keep pushing and trying to score. So I like the over to 11.5. And the last one, this is probably my strongest lean that I haven't bet yet. That's the Spurs team total over. They just score a lot at home. They average over 118 points at home. They're playing the Mavericks, who, aren't slowing anybody down too much. So I think there's a solid chance I'll be making that bet as I get to look at the team total lines, especially if their team total is let's say south of, 214, 213, something like that. So those are the picks for today. Whatever you do, best of luck. Hope you win a lot more than you lose. Kind of hope I do too. Reminder just to give me a like, subscribe, and check me out on Twitter at NBA Attack with 1A. I'll see you there.